My family didn't come to my wedding. They didn't even call. Then I saw the photo. They were sitting in the front row that same day at my brother's golf tournament. I didn't say anything. Not that night, not that week. But when they finally showed up with smiles and lies like, the date was mixed up, I knew what I was going to do. And believe me, when I picked up the microphone at the party, the silence in the room was louder than any screams. I'm Jane, 29, female. And I got married with a whole damn row of empty chairs staring back at me. Not because we forgot to invite people, not because of a storm or flight delays. No. Because my own family, my mom, my dad, and my brother Derek chose to skip my wedding for his golf tournament. That image is burned into me. My husband's family cheering, my friends crying, happy tears, the music swelling, and in the front row, the ghost of what should have been my family. Empty seats dressed in white ribbons, it was like grief disguised as decor. People whispered, of course. You could feel the questions floating around the room like smoke. Maybe they got stuck in traffic? Was there an emergency? I just smiled through it all, smiled so hard my jaw ached. Because what was I supposed to say? They didn't come. They chose him over me. I found out the truth that night. Midnight, still half in my dress, hair undone, scrolling through Instagram like a zombie. And there it was. My brother, front and center at his stupid golf event, parents beside him, in matching polos, laughing. Laughing like the world hadn't just split in two. I didn't even cry. I just stared at that screen until the photo blurred, handed the phone to my husband, and powered it off. It sounds crazy, but I wasn't surprised. It didn't come out of nowhere. They'd been resenting me for months. It started when I told them I didn't want to get married at the country club. That was their place, where they'd had their wedding, where Derek had all his junior tournaments. My mom said I was being ungrateful. My dad said it was family tradition. Derek, of course, rolled his eyes and called my vineyard venue some wine shack in the woods. When I refused to change it, they stopped answering messages. My mom skipped dress shopping. My dad said he wouldn't walk me down the aisle if it's going to be in the dirt. Derek told me I was selfish, that I was ruining the family dynamic. So I stopped sending updates, stopped begging for support. I thought maybe they'd come around last minute. They didn't.
Hey guys, real quick before we keep going, don't forget to sub and drop a like if you're enjoying the story. Thank you very much. Enjoy watching.
Here's the thing, though. While they were giving me the silent treatment, I was still paying their bills. Every damn month. Mortgage, electric. My dad's truck repairs, Derek's insurance. Thousands of dollars that just quietly vanished from my account while they acted like I didn't exist. So when they didn't show up, I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront them. Not yet. Let them live in their perfect little fantasy where I didn't matter. Let them feel safe. Because the day they came crawling back, I was going to make sure everyone saw who they really were. A week after the wedding, my phone lit up with a text from my dad. Hey, can we talk? Could use your help with something? No congratulations. No, sorry we missed it. Just straight to the part where he needed something. I stared at that message for a long time. My hand actually shook, not out of sadness this time, out of pure disbelief. I didn't answer. Not that day, not that night. The next morning, my mom started calling. Once, twice, 5 times, 10. By noon, she'd called 15 times and left 2 voicemails. I didn't listen to them right away. I knew exactly what kind of theater she was performing on the other end. Her fake, cheerful voice, pretending everything was normal. It took me 2 full days before I caved and hit play. Her tone was chipper, too chipper. Hi, honey. We're so sorry we missed the wedding. Things got so chaotic. I think we mixed up the date. Can you believe that? I could practically hear her smile. The same woman who I personally watched add the date to her phone calendar 6 months ago. The same woman who got multiple printed invitations, email reminders, and a digital RSVP. She mixed up the date. Sure. Then she started talking about Derek's upcoming birthday. He'd had a rough year, apparently, and they wanted to throw something special at the country club. There it was, the real reason for the call. He's been eyeing this custom golf driver, $400, ankles. But even a little help would mean the world. My stomach turned. The audacity, the absolute delusion. They skipped my wedding, lied about it, and were now asking me for money to buy Derek, a grown man, a luxury golf club. Then came voicemail number 2, from Derek himself. I didn't even want to hear his voice, but curiosity won. Look, I know you're mad or whatever, but the tournament was booked months ago. It's not like I could just bail, it's a big deal. Anyway, don't make it weird with mom and dad, okay? No hard feelings. No. Hard feelings. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Not rage, just a clean break. Like something brittle that finally gave way after too much weight. I realized I'd been keeping them afloat for years, and they still thought they owned me. So I stopped. I froze every automatic payment, canceled every shared account. I didn't tell them. I just watched the withdrawal stop, and when my mom texted again 2 days later, we're going ahead with the party anyway. We'd love for you to come. Maybe just the driver? It would mean so much to him. That's when I decided exactly how I was going to end this. I typed one short message back. I'll be there. And I'll bring a gift. And the second I hit send, I knew. This time, they were the ones walking into my event. The party was that Saturday night at the country club, the same one my parents had said wasn't appropriate for my wedding. I pulled into the parking lot and just sat there for a few minutes, engine off, watching everyone arrive. Couples in polished shoes, women in cocktail dresses, laughter echoing off marble. There were banners with Derek's face on them. Happy 23rd, champ. His smile was everywhere. I wondered if anyone here even knew what they'd done a week ago. I'd brought the gift, just like I promised, a small silver gift bag with a thin black envelope tucked inside. $700 in cash. Half of what they'd asked for. Enough to make them think I'd caved again. When I walked in, I could feel the shift in the room. People noticed me. Not hostility, not yet, just confusion. My mom froze when she saw me, then immediately composed herself into her fake hostess grin. Jane, you made it. Her voice had that sugary brightness that meant she was panicking under the surface. My dad gave me a nod from across the bar, like I was a distant acquaintance. And Derek? Oh, Derek looked smug. He came over wearing a ridiculous gold paper crown that said King of the Green. Didn't think you'd show, he said, tone dripping with self-satisfaction. I said I'd bring a gift. I handed him the bag. He peeked inside, saw the envelope, and smirked, like I'd just confirmed his worldview. Didn't expect generosity from you after all the drama. Drama, that's what he called it. My wedding, my humiliation, their betrayal, drama. He passed the bag to Mom, who placed it on the gift table. I drifted through the crowd for an hour, sipping wine, answering, polite small talk. People congratulated me on the wedding, said they were sorry they couldn't make it. Not one person asked why my own family hadn't been there. I could almost feel the weight of their silence pressing on me, like everyone had silently agreed not to mention it. Families always get the benefit of the doubt. When it was time for the speeches, Derek's coach grabbed the mic first, some long, boring monologue about perseverance and family values. My parents stood near him, glowing with pride. My mom clutched her wine glass like she was hosting a royal gala. Then she did something unexpected. She smiled wide and said, Before we end the night, I'd love for my daughter Jane to say a few words. The crowd clapped politely. I don't think they expected me to walk up, but I did, calm, steady. My heart was pounding, but I smiled the whole time. I took the mic, looked around the room, and said, Hi, I'm Jane, Derek's sister. Silence. I just wanted to thank everyone for coming. It's wonderful to finally see some of the faces my family missed at my big day last week. My mother's smile faltered. See, they didn't make it to my wedding. They said they got the date mixed up. But I guess they figured it out in time for Derek's golf tournament that same day. You could hear the air leave the room. I wasn't angry. I wasn't yelling. I just told the truth. And I made sure everyone heard every word. I don't think anyone even breathed for a full 10 seconds after I said it. The sound of the microphone catching my breath filled the silence. My mother's fake smile cracked like glass. My father's face turned the color of cheap whiskey. Derek froze mid-sip, his stupid crown tilting to one side. I didn't look away. I stayed calm, almost too calm. You know, I said, I thought maybe they were just busy or something had gone wrong. But then I saw the photos, front row at the golf tournament. All smiles, all matching polos. Meanwhile, my husband and I said our vows in front of a row of empty chairs with their names on them. A few people gasped. Someone near the bar muttered, Oh my God. I paid for that wedding myself, I continued. Just like I've been paying my parents' bills for the past year. Mortgage, utilities, my dad's truck repairs, Derek's insurance. But when it came time to show up for me, they decided golf was more important. My voice didn't shake. It didn't even rise. I wanted every word to land like a hammer in velvet. So Derek, Mom, Dad, here's my gift to you. $700. Half of what you asked for. Enough to buy your fancy new driver. But the real gift tonight is honesty. Everyone here deserves to know who you really are. And with that, I handed the mic back to the DJ, walked straight off the stage, and didn't look back. Behind me, the room erupted, chairs scraping, murmurs rising. I caught my mother's voice, sharp and shrill. Jane, Jane, don't you dare walk out like this. Then my father's, You embarrassed us in front of everyone. But I was already outside, the night air cold against my face, my hands trembling from adrenaline. By the time I reached my car, my phone was vibrating nonstop. First Derek, then Mom, then Dad. Voicemails, texts, missed calls, piling up like static. I drove home with the radio off, letting the quiet soak in. It wasn't joy, it was relief. For the first time in my life, I hadn't swallowed the truth to protect them. That night, I sat on the edge of my bed, still in the black dress I'd worn to the party, and watched their names light up my screen over and over. I didn't answer. By morning, the fallout had started. My cousin texted me, Girl, what did you do? Everyone's talking about that speech. Someone had posted a clip online, a 2-minute video of me calmly dismantling my family's perfect facade. The comments were brutal. Some people praised me. Others called me heartless. But it didn't matter. For once, they were the ones being judged. I thought that would be the end of it. Let them stew. Let the silence rot. But I should have known my mother wouldn't let humiliation die quietly. Because 3 days later, I heard the knock at my door. When I looked through the peephole and saw her, my mother, sunglasses on, indoors like she was dodging paparazzi, I almost didn't open the door. But curiosity got the better of me. She didn't wait for an invitation. She just slipped past me like she still owned the place, her perfume hitting the air before her words did. "We need to talk," she said. I didn't offer her coffee. I didn't even gesture toward a chair. I just leaned against the counter, arms crossed, waiting. She started with what she always did: damage control. "Jane, that scene you made, you humiliated your father. Derek's been miserable. Sponsors are pulling out. People are whispering. So the truth hurt your image," I interrupted. "Imagine that." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "You didn't have to do it like that. Family business should stay private." "Private? You skipped my wedding and lied about it." "That was never private. That was just cowardice." Something flickered in her eyes. Panic, maybe? For the first time, she wasn't in control. She reached into her purse and pulled out a folded check. She set it on the counter between us. "Derek wanted you to have this back. The $700. He doesn't want your money anymore." I stared at it. "That why you came? To give me a refund for the truth?" Her tone shifted. "Your father lost his job months ago. He didn't tell anyone. He's been gambling. Online. He thought he could win enough to catch up on the bills you used to help with, but he didn't. He lost everything. The mortgage, the utilities, they're all behind. I only found out after the wedding when the power company sent a notice, with your name still on the account. I didn't say anything. I just let the words hang there." She sat down, the check trembling in her hands. "We need help, Jane. I hate asking. But you've always been the responsible one, the steady one." I actually laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. "No, Mom, I've always been the quiet one, the one who pays for the mess and never says a word. That's over." Her voice cracked. "Do you think there's any way back from this?" I looked at her, really looked. For once, she didn't look like the pristine matriarch she tried so hard to be. She looked small, scared. "Did you really think I wouldn't say anything at the party?" I asked. She hesitated, then whispered, "We counted on it." That hit me like a slap. They thought I'd keep swallowing it. They thought I'd stay silent forever. When she stood to leave, she paused at the door. "The country club sent us a notice. Our family membership's under review. People complained. They said Derek's behavior and what you said made them uncomfortable. Sponsors are distancing. This is destroying us, Jane." I met her eyes. "No, Mom. You destroyed yourselves. I just told the truth." After she left, I stared at that check for a long time before tucking it in the drawer next to my marriage license. One represented the start of something real, the other, the end of pretending. For the first time, silence didn't feel like avoidance. It felt like peace. But peace doesn't last long when guilt starts eating at people, like my family. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, my phone lit up with a message from Derek. "You're still invited if you want." At first, I thought Derek's message was some sick joke. "You're still invited if you want." No context, no explanation, just that. I stared at the text for a good minute, my heart caught somewhere between fury and confusion. Invited to what? Another tournament? Another reminder that I didn't belong? When I finally replied, all I wrote was, "Invited to what?" His response came almost instantly. "Mom's doing a small makeup party at the house. Nothing big. Family only." Family only. That phrase stung more than it should have. The last time they'd said family only, it meant without you. I didn't answer right away. 3 days went by. I kept rereading his messages, trying to decode what they were really asking for. But then Derek sent one more text, shorter, quieter. "She just wants everyone in the same room. She doesn't want the last thing to be that." That, meaning the speech, meaning the implosion they couldn't erase from everyone's memory. I waited another day before replying. "Fine, I'll come. Not for them, not for closure, for me." I wanted to walk into that house without owing anyone a damn thing. No money, no apology, no shame. When the night came, I didn't bother dressing up. Jeans, plain black top, hair tied back. I didn't bring gifts or flowers, just a small bottle of bourbon, my dad's old favorite before things went to hell. I left the tag blank. When I pulled into the driveway, it hit me how different everything looked. No banners, no fancy cars lined down the street. Just a few lights glowing through the windows. I knocked once. The door creaked open. There they were. Mom at the stove, Dad by the back door, Derek sitting on the couch with a plate of lasagna. Nobody smiled right away. The air was thick, awkward. Mom broke the silence first. "I'm glad you came." Her voice wasn't fake this time. It was small, real. I nodded. "Didn't want your last memory of me to be a microphone." That almost made her laugh, but not quite. We ate in near silence for a while. My dad barely looked up from his plate. Derek seemed deflated. The golden boy, now stripped of the glow. No trophies, no sponsors. Just him. When we were done, Mom poured coffee, hands shaking slightly. "We've lost a lot," she said, finally. "But maybe that's what we needed." Dad spoke next, his voice rough, like he hadn't said this out loud before. "We were wrong, Jane, all of it. I'm sorry." I didn't cry. I didn't even smile. I just nodded once, slow. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet. But it was a start. Before I left, I placed the bourbon on the counter next to Mom's cooling lasagna. "For him," I said. Dad looked up, eyes glassy. He didn't say thank you. He didn't need to. Driving home that night, I realized something. For years, I'd been the one knocking on their door, begging for space in my own family. Now they were the ones waiting for me to come back. I didn't go back the next week, even though Dad had asked. That quiet dinner had been Surreal. Not warm, not healed, but different. They'd finally said the words I'd spent years dying to hear. We were wrong, but I wasn't ready to let my guard down. For the first time, the power was mine, and I wasn't giving it back so easily. I told myself I'd wait. If they really wanted a relationship, they'd have to come to me. This time. No guilt trips, no be the bigger person. Just effort. 2 Fridays later, around 6:30, there was a knock on my door. I opened it, expecting a delivery, and there they were. All 3 of them. Mom held a grocery bag full of ingredients. Derek had a foil-covered tray balanced in both hands. Dad stood behind them, empty-handed, but standing straight, looking more grounded than I'd seen him in years. Can we come in? Mom asked softly. I looked over my shoulder at my husband, who'd just stepped out of the kitchen. He didn't say a word, just gave me a small nod. So I stepped aside. They moved cautiously, like people walking into a museum of their own mistakes. Mom went straight for the kitchen, asking where things were, checking before touching anything. Derek mumbled something about garlic bread. Dad hovered, unsure of where he belonged. It was tense, but it wasn't bad. Just strange. They cooked. Lasagna again. Mom's signature. Derek grated cheese clumsily, while my husband and I watched. It was almost funny seeing them like that, fumbling through normalcy after all the chaos they'd caused. When we finally sat down at the dining table, the one my husband and I had picked out after the wedding, it hit me that they'd never even seen this home before. Not once. Not the life I'd built without them. We ate quietly for a few minutes before Dad spoke. So, he said, setting down his fork. How was the wedding, really? I looked up from my plate. It was beautiful, I said honestly. But the front row was empty. That part hurt. He nodded, eyes down. It should have been us. I should have been there. The silence after that wasn't uncomfortable. It was heavy, but true. Mom reached over, touching my hand tentatively. We've been trying to fix things. Derek got a job, real work this time, at the driving range. Derek chuckled softly. Yeah. Minimum wage and sweaty gloves. Living the dream. Then he slid his phone across the table to show me a screenshot, his savings app, a little folder labeled golf bag fund. $150 saved. Below it, a note. No more handouts. For the first time in years, I smiled at him. Not pity, not resentment, just pride. After dinner, Mom insisted on washing dishes. My husband helped her dry. They moved quietly, almost tenderly. Dad stayed behind in the dining room. I haven't gambled since she found out, he said suddenly. Been seeing a counselor at the community center. I don't want you picking up the pieces anymore. I believed him. Maybe for the first time ever. When they finally left, they stood near the door waiting. Not for permission, not for thanks, but for something real. Next Friday, I said finally. Just dinner, no gifts, no agenda. Mom smiled through tears. Derek nodded. Dad just looked relieved. That night, after the house was quiet, I found myself opening that same drawer in my bedroom. The one with the check. Still folded, still untouched, still sitting beside my marriage license. 2 pieces of paper, one marking where my old life ended, and the other where a new one began. They came back the next Friday, right on time. No grand entrance, no chaos, just a quiet knock, 3 familiar silhouettes behind the door. For a second, I almost didn't open it. Habit, I guess. Years of flinching at what family used to mean. But when I did, I saw something different in their faces. Not pride, not guilt, just effort. Mom had another grocery bag in her arms. Derek was holding a pie, still warm from the oven. My dad had nothing in his hands, but for once he didn't look like he needed to hide behind something. Dinner? Mom asked simply. I stepped aside again. Dinner. They moved around the kitchen like they were relearning a language. Mom asked where I kept the pasta. Derek overcooked the bread again. My dad poured wine but didn't overfill the glasses, like he used to. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. We ate around the same table, me, my husband, them. The conversation came easier this time, less tiptoeing, more truth. Mom told us she started taking shifts at a local bakery to help with bills. Derek talked about saving for a car. A cheap one, he joked. Not a single thing my name isn't on. My dad mentioned the counselor again, said he'd started volunteering with a local workshop, teaching basic trade skills. At one point, my husband got up to refill the wine, and it was just me and my dad at the table. He looked at me, really looked, and said, You know, you were right to say what you said that night. I hated hearing it, but you were right. I didn't know how to respond, so I just nodded. Sometimes, silence says more than a thank you ever could. After dinner, Mom washed dishes without asking. Derek helped dry. My husband and Dad stepped out back to talk about something. Probably tools or football, both of which are their version of emotional processing. I stood there watching my mother, sleeves rolled up, scrubbing plates with quiet concentration. She caught me looking. You don't have to keep forgiving us, you know, she said softly. We'll just keep showing up until you believe it. And I think, for the first time, I did. When they left that night, there were hugs, awkward, hesitant, but genuine. My dad told me to call if I ever needed anything. Derek grinned and said, Next week's on me. Mom kissed my cheek and whispered, We're proud of you. Later that evening, I got a text from her. No words, just a photo of a silver frame sitting on their living room shelf. Inside it, one of my wedding photos, Me and my husband laughing under the string lights. No empty chairs in sight. A few minutes after that, Derek texted too. Another screenshot of his savings app, now 225. Under the note, no more handouts, he'd added a single line. Thank you for letting me start over. I sat on the couch, phone in hand, and for once I didn't feel that old ache in my chest. Because the thing about family, the real kind, is that sometimes you spend years begging them to see you, and then one day you stop asking. And the ones who truly care, they find their way back on their own.